Lara Croft goes to an ancient ruins in Chile with Conrad Roth, and they find an ancient artifact box. Lara warns him that they shouldn't take it, but he does anyway, and they both fight off those telling them about the artifact's dangerous properties. 3 years later, Lara returns from Peru, and with the help of her friends Zip and Jonah, she plans to sell off all of the possessions in her family's manor. She continues to have flashbacks to Roth's death, which Jocelyn Reyes blamed her for, while Sam Nishimura stayed at her side. However, she leaves before giving a speech at the auction to sell off the possessions. In the process, she comes across a masked assailant who steals the artifact box. While she attempts to track him down, with the help of Zip, he gets away, then takes off his mask, revealing he is Charles Devereaux. Later, he opens the box and is consumed by its power. He plans to get its counterpart in China. Lara plans to go after him and stop his evil deeds before it's too late, using her father's diary as a guide. Lara travels to a Chinese city in search of the ancient ruins of Tianxi Shen and is helped by Jonah, who helps her get a guide to the shrine called Yinin. At the same time, Charles and the guide are in the same forest, also looking for the shrine. Lara later descends into a hole to find missing kids, and Jonah follows her. They face a mysterious fox spirit and barely escape. Lara realizes the boxes aren't what Charles is after, but what is inside instead. She grabs the jade box, but the ruby stone isn't inside. Not long after, she finds the children and releases a spirit after hacking at the spirit's coffin, allowing them to escape. She asks the fox spirit Daji to save them, and she obliges, later bowing to Lara, as they all are able to escape. Jonah urges Lara to let this go and stop going on this quest. Just then, a tidal wave overtakes their boat. Lara gets separated from Jonah and is almost drowned in the turbulent waters. She somehow survives but believes that Jonah is dead. Not long after, she fights with Charles, throwing him the jade box. She tells Zib that Jonah is dead. Now in Beijing, Lara calls Sam, but her call is interrupted when Zip shows up, who wants to help her. They enter the storeroom of an international guild that restores and repairs artifacts, then repatriates them. She gives them a dagger so she can get information on the Peril stones. Lara heads to Istanbul to find one of the stones, learning it is held by a mobster in the city named Elvan Kaya, and meets Charles again, where he claims to be a misunderstood hero. Sometime later, she breaks into Kaya's compound in an attempt to take one of the stones. She gets the stone, but it takes control of her, causing her to kill people gruesomely. Lara traps the stone, and Kaya tells her to get the stone away from her, declaring the stone will curse her. Jonah reappears, now controlled and allied with Charles, and steals the stone from her, while Charles merges the two stones together. Zip awakes Lara. She remembers that Charles combined the stones. Lara implies that she wants to go on the quest to stop Charles alone, and Zip objects. She travels to Paris and makes her way to Camilla Roth's apartment. Zip tells her about the stone lockbox. Camilla is surprised to see Lara there, but tells her all she knows about the light. Lara convinces Camilla to go to the church of Charles' father as part of a little adventure. They both begin bonding again after she loses connection with Zip when she travels too far underground into the catacombs. They later separate, with Lara's claim that you will cover more ground, while Camilla believes that Lara is just like her father. Lara learns that the Knights Templar who survived became the light. She is attacked by a monster and hallucinates horrors until she is brought out of it thanks to Camilla. They have a heartfelt embrace. In Iran, Charles follows a mind controlled Jonah forward. Lara meets a man named Captain, also known as Leo, who she met 5 years before in Oahu. Leo flies the airplane as he drops out a crate. She thanks him for the ride and jumps out of the airplane. She gets to the ground and rides a motorcycle which was dropped from the airplane to catch the train where Charles and mind controlled Jonah are. Following this, she rides her motorcycle as the town crumbles around her and makes her way onto the train. She finds that everyone there is controlled by one of the stones. She comes across Charles saying it isn't right to destroy everything, while Charles declares he will do anything to stop the light. Jonah attacks her, but she survives and saves him, while everyone else on the train is mind controlled. Later on, they meet back at Lara's family mansion to read more books. She figures out that Charles talked about the Battle of Julu, not Zulu. Camilla notes that the leaders of the light are about to make a glorious return. Lara travels with Jonah through a rainforest before they can reach the ancient battle site. When they get there, they realize it has been turned into a theme park. She learns from one of the guides that no one knows where the battle took place. She reluctantly watches a film at the site at Jonah's urging, and she learns about where the final stone is held. They later go in a plane to the possible site where the stone is being held, with Jonah saying the ghosts of Roth and her dad are haunting her. They find the ancient ruins and activate a magical process which results in them being transported to Mongolia. Lara makes her way across part of the desert to another ruins. She is injured in the process, but finds a temple. Lara warns Charles not to combine all the four stones together, but he does so, and he throws her off a cliff. Injured, she barely makes her way up the cliff, thinking of Camilla's words, but she collapses. She and Jonah are saved by two mysterious people. Lara thinks back to moments of loss in her life, from the death of Roth and her dad, and Camilla leaving. She even thinks that Charles is choking her, but she pulled out of this by the fox spirit Daji, believing she isn't strong enough. Lara asks for Jonah's help, and Jonah accepts after she apologizes. Jonah and Lara visit an old marine research lab. They find Camilla there with some agents, who tell them about the Light's plans there. Charles prepares to execute the members of the Light. Lara, Jonah, Camilla, and her fellow agents bust in. Lara fights Charles, who transforms into a new body after he ingests all the stones, and is cornered by him. Camilla and Lara cut down the monster. Lara begins to attack Camilla, but she is able to break out of it, and Charles is electrocuted. He is taken away in handcuffs. Lara goes off to Kunlun Mountain with Jonah. Jonah and Lara make their way to Kunlun Mountain. She makes her way to an underwater cavern, and Jonah joins her. They are both amazed by what they find. As they journey to Nuwa, they go into a cave, and Lara is unsure how to proceed once they are inside part of the cave at first. Jonah barely makes it across a bridge with his life. Lara tries to figure out what objects to use to reset the balance of the world to connect all the elements. Lara goes to restore the world's balance. She enters another dimension and enters a floating temple, and the spirit god combines all the stones together. Following this, she wakes up and Jonah is grateful she saved the world. They fight a T Rex, defeat it, and barely escape. Lara attends the wedding of Jonah and his wife Abby. Sam calls Lara during the wedding party, and she gets suspicious. She finds Sam's apartment deserted and plans to go find her.